Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. In this video, we are going to be trying to predict the starting lineup and reserves for the All Blacks in their match up against Fiji this weekend. But if you do enjoy this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. I have got a special guest with me. I have got Rugbyitch.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Right, so what we are going to be doing is each week before the All Blacks side is announced, we are going to be having our guesses and we will have a point system. So the point system is going to be as follows. For every person we have right in that 23-man side, you get a single point. If they are in the correct position and jersey that you do predict, you get an extra point. So that would be 2 points. For example, if it was the halfback and you guess the right halfback, you would end up with 2 points. Whereas if you guess the wrong halfback in that starting jersey, but you have them on the bench, you will receive just the 1 point. Then you get an extra bonus point if you get the whole 4-pack right, an extra bonus point if you get the whole back line right, an extra point if you get the whole reserves right, and then an extra special bonus point if you can get the full 23, which maybe one day we might be able to do, but we'll wait and see. But that is the system we are going with, and hopefully we can get very close to that 50.
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good. Looking forward to it.
Right, so even in just this time that we have been speaking, I have probably almost changed a couple of my guesses. I feel like I am going to end up changing them almost as we go, depending on what I think at the time. But we will start with the number 1 jersey. Who have you gone with? Who is going to be at number 1? In fact, we will do the front row, all 3 of them.
So yeah, I mean, I think that they actually will stick with the same player that they selected last week, and I do believe they'll stick with Carlton Laffey as their number 1 option. So I do think he'll slot into that number 1 position.
Okay, right. I actually have gone with the same thing. I think that they'll try Tuanukuafi again, but I have a reasoning alongside with my front row. I have actually gone with an identical front row, which now I'm starting to maybe regret, but I think maybe they'll try and build up a little bit of chemistry between a few of those players in that front row. But I've got a few changes in terms of the bench as well for those front rowers.
Yeah, no, I'd say for my second, from the hooker position, I have actually gone with Cody Taylor actually as my second one. I do believe, obviously, he didn't start last week, and obviously that was Dan Cole's, and he deservedly, he played pretty well, I'd say, to be, he did pretty well. But I do think Cody Taylor is the number 1 option really that New Zealand have at this point in time, and I do think that obviously against Fiji, it is the main games that New Zealand's are playing against. So you want to have your best player within those games, and yeah, I do believe Cody Taylor is the number 1 option for New Zealand in this point in time.
Yeah. Yeah, see, I did see that Asafa Moore, I believe, concussion-like symptoms. So it's actually Samisoni Takiaho who has been brought into that side. Do they give him a jersey on the bench, though? We'll have to wait and see.
Oh, that'd be good.
So who is your tight head prop for this match, your number 3?
My tight head prop, I've actually gone with Angus Talbot. I do believe they're not going to switch the props just because, like you said beforehand, they want to build a bit of more chemistry within those positions. But I do believe, like I said before, Cody Taylor for Dan Coles is, in my opinion, for a like switch. It's not really going to make too much of a difference. But I do believe, obviously, Cody Taylor just going up form is the better player at this point in time.
So one difference in our predictions. So we have already got a chance of possibly splitting up the points. And I feel like these next positions, possibly the rest of the 4-pack, we have got the potential of really having some different names there. So we will start now next with the locks. Who have you gone with for your lock duo?
So I do believe they will introduce Brodie Retallick back into the lineup. I do believe he'll actually come back in. So he's the first lock I've selected. And, of course, the other one has to be Sam Whitelock. And, of course, he will captain the side. So I do believe they will go with that pairing. So, unfortunately, I have gone with the brave decision of not putting in a Barrett, which is what we normally like to think. And, yep, of course, it's in Foster. He always loves a Barrett. But I have gone against him this time. And I do believe he will select Brodie Retallick within this game.
Okay. Right, I've got someone different. I have actually – it was a hard decision, because I know that there's quite a few locks who would love to get a run round, but I have gone with number 4 rather than Retallick. I've actually gone with Patrick Tuipulotu. So I have decided to ditch Scott Barrett as well, but I feel like off the bench, he got a few minutes. He did score a try, but I feel like maybe they'll try and give him a little bit more game time as well, possibly with a start against Fiji. But also at 5, I have once again gone with Sam Whitelock as well.
Yeah, it's a given, really, obviously, because he's captain, so fully understandable.
Right, loose forwards. So
yeah, this is the good one. This is definitely the tricky one. But yeah, I mean, we obviously had conversations beforehand for this number 6 position. In my opinion, I think this is the hardest one to go by within that loose forward pack. But I have actually gone with Shannon Vizell. I do believe he's going to be fit in time, obviously, for this game. Obviously, we've seen a few pictures of him, like you said beforehand, holding like the scrum tackling back. So it's one of those where I do believe he will be available. So I do believe he's my number 6, really. For my number 7, you have to go with Barney Sevilla. He's one of the best in the world, and I do believe he will be ready in time. Obviously, it's a ifty, but I have gone with him at 7. And at number 8, I have gone with Hoskins Tutu. So yeah, I think that is their best loose forward trio at this point in time. But as a Blues fan, I would love to see a Kira in there, but I have gone with Shannon Vizell.
Right. So originally, I had a little bit of a different idea because I did have Shannon Frizzell at 6, and then I was starting to second guess myself. But I decided that I feel like it's an interesting one because if he's just coming back from injury, do they kind of ease him into it? Exactly. And that was the big 50-50 that I was sitting at. Akira Ioane, he can cover 8 as well off the bench if needed. So a little bit more versatile in that regard. So I did actually, in the end, I did go with Shannon Frizzell at 6. Number 7, though, I've gone with something completely different. Dalton Papali'i, calf injury, unfortunately, has been giving him a little bit of issues during the week, which is a shame because in the live stream before the match started between All Blacks and Tonga, I said a statement and I was like, I have a terrible feeling. I don't know why, but I feel like Papali'i's getting injured in this game. And I didn't know why, but yeah, unfortunately ended up limping off the field, and I felt bad at the time because
you're the unlucky first. You cursed it.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Dalton, if you are watching this. But at number 7, I've gone with Ethan Blackadder.
Ooh, okay, interesting.
Even though he's only played number 7 about, I think it's something like 7% of games that he has started or something along those lines. But I think Artie Savia is still slightly falling under that category of the injuries such as Leonard, or not as bad as Leonard Brown, but still that little bit of a knee injury. So I am worried that maybe they won't end up throwing him straight in against the strong Fijian side, which still makes my bench even harder. I'm almost changing my mind on the bench already. But at number 8, I have gone with Hoskins Tutu. I think he will get a run round, even though Luke Jacobson had a phenomenal performance up against Tonga. Absolutely. I think they'll still try and give Hoskins Tutu a little bit of game time heading into the Rugby Championship and the Bledisloe Cup.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. I think Hoskins Tutu is the number 1 option really for New Zealand at this point in time. But Luke Jacobson, after that performance against Tonga, and we have to remember it is against Tonga, so it's not like a higher quality opposition. But at the same time, he was absolutely brilliant. I think he had 3 try assists within that game, and he really just was so good in offloading the ball within that game as well. So yeah, I mean, Tutu has to do a lot, I'd say, within these next 2 games if he's going to get started. But like I said beforehand, he is the number 1 option for New Zealand at this point in time.
Right. Number 9, game being played at Forsyth Bar in Dunedin. We know whose home ground that is, of course.
Yeah, I mean, this is Aaron Smith's home, and it's one of those which I do believe, I'm not sure, I think he is available for this game. I'm not 100% sure because I know he had a bit of an injury, not an injury, but he had something of like a rest in that sense where they had to give him just a bit of time bit more time to actually come back into it. But I have to go with Aaron Smith. I think it's one of those which I think if you don't go with Aaron Smith in Dunedin, it's a bit like it just doesn't make sense. So yeah, for that reason, I have gone with Aaron Smith, and of course he brings a lot of experience towards this side. And
I have done the same as well. Right, number 10 could be an interesting one.
This is where So I think they'll actually switch it. So I actually think they'll switch it from last week. And like Ian Foster right there, I do believe he will go with Barrett. So I actually have gone with Beauden Barrett as my number 10 option. So I do believe they're going to try both of the 10s. I still think it's one of those which New Zealand are still questioning because it's one of those which Richard Mo'unga, don't get me wrong, he's a brilliant 10 and he's probably the best in Super Rugby by a long shot. But when it comes to the All Blacks, it's a different play. It's a different, playing level, and it's one of those which Beauden Barrett has succeeded for a very long time. So it's one of those which I can understand why they would still question that position. So yeah, for that reason, I've gone with Beauden Barrett within 10. Yeah.
See, this was also a very hard decision for myself because I was thinking about it and I was thinking Mo'unga, he didn't have a bad game, last week
No, he
against
did.
Tonga.
Yeah, no.
The kicking game was a little bit off, which I feel like makes me question whether or not they will leave him as the goal kicker, whether they kind of stick it out. Because, I mean, he nailed some impressive kicks in Super Rugby Trans-Tasman.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, so it's just one of those ones. It's a hard one. But I actually, because of the other backs that I have actually chosen in my side, although I changed one of them, so that slightly gets rid of it. But I have gone with Richie Mo'unga once again at 10.
I like it. I like it.
Decided that I would stick it out with him one more week and have him at 10 for this one as well. We will go with the centres next. We will skip 11 just for now, although I feel like actually 11 we might be the same, so we might as well.
I think
maybe
we can
just
say 11 now, and I think we both agree that it's George Bridge because it's really the only realistic option that I can go with. I still think they should have gone with another left winger like the likes of Nareki or even Riasi, but of course they're stuck with one, so I think it's kind of a given that we've kind of both gone with George Bridge within that one.
Yeah, right. Centres. Who have you got as your midfield combo?
I'll be honest, that this normally would be a very tough decision to make, but of course, with the amount of injuries within this particular position, I think it was much easier this time around. So for that reason, I've actually gone with David Havili at 12, and I've gone with Rieko Amoni at 13. So I do believe Havili will replace Quintapaya after his debut game against Tonga. Don't get me wrong, he was brilliant, but I do believe they have to introduce Havili within this game.
And I have done the exact same. I've gone with Havili and also Ioane, and I think that was why I kind of stuck with Richie Mo'unga at 10, just to have that kind of combo with Havili for his first game.
That combination is just the amount of chemistry those two have together, and the way that they link off each other is just it's outstanding. So yeah, I understand why I've gone with that combination.
Speaking of combos,
this is
14 and the 15.
Yeah, this is probably the toughest one for me personally, for what I had to go with, because I think last week it was Will Jordan at 14 and Mackenzie at 15, if I'm not mistaken. But this week I've actually switched both of them. I don't think both of them are playing within this week's game. I do believe they'll go with Sever Reese as their number 14, and I've actually gone with Jordy Barrett at 15. So I do believe that's the two I've gone with. Obviously, Barrett brings a lot of his kicking game within that one with his long range kicking if they need that. And I do believe Sever Reese is just a outstanding winger, and it's one of those which he was on his best of form really for the Crusaders throughout both competitions within New Zealand. So yeah, had to give it to those two. Right.
Well, I have neither of them for my ones. It was a very hard decision.
Makes it even better.
So number 14, I had to reward Will Jordan with some more minutes after that last performance.
Yeah.
I decided Sever Reese was originally going to be there for me, but then Will Jordan,
he scored 5.
I feel as well as that combo alongside Richie Mo'unga a little bit, even though of course Sever Reese from the Crusaders, I think I just wanted to see him play against an opposition such as a Fiji or someone who's going to push him a little bit more physically with that pace of their wingers as well, kind of give him a little bit more of a chess match out on that wing. So I decided to go with him, although I think it was pretty much maybe 51% Jordan, 49% Reese, and it only just ticked me over. Yeah. But then number 15, I actually went with Damian McKenzie again. I think
you have gone with the same backline as last week. Okay, interesting.
Pretty much. Other than, of course, David Havili getting added in there. I don't know. I feel like that McKenzie-Jordan combo is just one that's very entertaining to watch. And it's also a very dangerous combo. So I'm wondering whether or not they will try and kind of test that one out just a little bit more and see whether or not, it goes decent up against someone like Fiji. But now I'm regretting maybe both of them. I'll have to wait and see. I'll probably end up getting about 20 points for the whole one. But yeah, so that's what I went with. I feel like I thought this through too much, but then also at the same time kind of kept on changing my mind with a whole heap of different directions.
Yeah, same here.
Speaking of different directions, reserves bench.
Exactly.
I already know that our number 16s are going to be different.
Yeah, this is going to be definitely different for sure. And obviously, you can have a different split actually with what you go with. You can go with a 5-3 split, or you can go with a 6-2, like normally what the South Africans go with. So it's going to be interesting to see what we both go with. Maybe there's a difference, but we'll have to wait and see.
Right. So number 16, who have you gone with?
So I'm filling first the prop positions. I do believe that they have another prop within that area. So I have gone with the likes of George Bauer. I do believe he did pretty well actually coming off the bench within the last one. So I've gone with him as my number 16 option.
Right. Okay, that's a little bit of a muddle.
Exactly.
In that regard. Only number 16, your replacement hooker. So that's going to be. It's
one of those where I think for the number 16 position, it's one of those where I think for the hooker position, I'm obviously going to go with Takala. I do believe they're going to put him in instead of obviously Asafo Moore. Obviously, he's unfortunately been, he's a bit injured, I believe. I think that's the case. But for that position, obviously, he is my option for that. But I do believe for the prop positions, which are coming up, I have to go with George Bauer. Yeah.
Right. So you've gone with George Bauer.
Yeah.
Okay, I've gone with Southland boy Ethan de Groot. I feel like to not play him in Dunedin, I feel like would be just a big insult to the man. I feel like that's his home ground. And I think he will get maybe a few minutes in that second half as well. See how he goes up against Fiji. So that means so far we've actually got two different, because I've gone with Cody Taylor as my replacement number 16.
Yeah, makes total sense, yeah.
And then number 18, who have you got? I think we'll be the same here.
I think we should be, because it's just the other prop, right? That there's no other. I'm trying to think. Is there another player who can go here?
Who have you got?
I mean, I've gone with Lomax. Lomax is the guy I've actually gone with, because it's one of those which I'm trying to think if there's. I mean, is Nepalolala still in the place? Because if he is, then oh my gosh!
I'm gonna allow you to change if you do want to, but I will leave it up to you, of course.
I'm going with Nepo. I originally didn't have him in, but I'm going to go with Nepo now. I'm going to go with Nepo Lulala.
Okay, I've got the same. I've got Nepo Lulala as my number 18. See, some people I think that maybe him, I think it's him, Bauer, and Taylor could be the starting three. I think I did see that someone's rumoring, so we'll have to wait and see there.
It would be good. It'd be interesting to see that, because obviously Bauer and Cody Taylor play they play well together, obviously, for the Crusaders. But Lala, I've been very impressed by, I'd say, with obviously his combination with Carlton Mafe for the Blues. So it's one of those which you can fit those two as well. So it really just depends on what they want to go with.
We'll go with 19 and we'll go with 20.
Of course, I think for the lock, I had to keep him in, because it's one of those where you also have the options of Tupo Vala, you have Tupoloto, as well as Scott Barrett, obviously, for both of us, because we didn't select him. But I do believe they'll probably – I think they'll actually use Tupo Vala. I've actually gone – Vala is the one where, obviously, he wasn't included within the first test. So I do believe he's going to be on the bench for this one.
See, I've got Big Brody coming off the bench in that second half. I wanted to add Tupo Vala in there, but I felt like maybe they would go – I felt like it was going to be too much of a kind of throwing him in to have him in that starting jersey.
Makes sense.
So it's one of those ones I felt like maybe next week might be his opportunity to come off the bench. Perhaps maybe they just keep on rotating them. But then I realized I've actually completely ditched Scott Barrett, and he didn't have a bad game against Tonga.
Weird. Like we were singing his praises last week, but now he's not been included. So what are you gonna do?
Yeah. Well, loose forward. That is the big question for the coach as well. What is he going to do?
I think because he, like we were talking about him before, I think he covers two positions very well, in my opinion. So I have to go up with Kira Ione. I think he covers, like you said, 6 and 8. And I do believe, for me, I've selected Ari Sevilla. If he can fit that 7 role very well, then I don't think that's going to be an option for Akira. So yeah, I've gone with Akira as my bench player.
See, I've done the same. It was either going to be him or Frizzell, but then I also kind of had Artie Savia as my slightly backup, just because he can cover a few of the loose forward positions. But yeah, in the end, I decided on Akira, which, I'm happy enough with. Maybe I feel like he could actually be in the starting lineup.
Like when you see the lineup, but you're happy now.
Yeah, I will be very sad tomorrow. But this next one, Number 21, who's your replacement halfback?
I've actually gone with Finlay Christie. I do believe, like, from what I know and what Finlay Christie's done, like the previous performances he's actually had within Dunedin has been very, very good in my opinion. So for that reason, I think, yeah, I've gone with Finlay Christie instead of Brad Weber.
All right, I have done the same. Because I saw that Brad Weber, he ended up getting slightly injured in that Tonga game. And I watched the replay a couple times. And I wasn't actually sure what the injury really was. I know it was a swinging boot that came around, and it looked like it kind of hit him in the hand or
exactly. It was a hand
around there. Yeah. So I felt like maybe they would end up resting him a little bit just to make sure he's back to that 100%, but he may already be. So maybe he will surprise us.
Maybe it's just a little scare, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, then, okay, 22-23. I am interested to hear who your 22 is.
Yeah, this is the interesting one because it's one of those where I could either go with obviously a center and then a winger / fullback, or I can go with like someone who kind of covers all of them. So originally, I actually wanted Reiko to be on my bench, but of course, with limited options within centers, I had to go with him in my starting lineup. So for that reason, I actually haven't gone with a center within my remaining two. I've actually gone with Will Jordan, and I've gone with Damien McKenzie. I do believe those two will be on the bench. I haven't gone with there are other options, obviously, which I bet you have. You're gonna say one of the ones I know, but I've gone with those two because I do believe they will still make an impact within that second half.
Right. Okay. So I have got 22 Bowden Barrett. I'm once again bringing him off the bench, and number 23, I've actually ditched Geordie completely. And I don't have Geordie Barrett there, which is an interesting one. I felt like it was interesting last week. They kind of brought him on the field as a centre almost for the later stages of that game up against Tonga. Exactly. Because he came on for Quintupaya, didn't he?
Yeah.
So I decided instead to go with Sever Reece. And I think that's because of the fact that I think late in the game, I don't know, maybe if they need to, they still have that kind of cover for fullback, like such as Will Jordan maybe going back to fullback if he needs to, or something along those lines. I just felt like Sever Reece, probably with the form that he's been in for Super Rugby Trans-Tasman, I couldn't not have him in there somewhere.
Exactly.
But unfortunately, it did mean that Geordie Barrett got the boot for this week, so I've ditched two Barretts in my.
I mean, that's the same with me. That's the same with me with Will Jordan. I had to include him within this game. It's one of those where, like you said, he scored 5 tries last week. That's ridiculous. So it's one of those which, if you don't have a bit of that, coming off the bench, then yeah, I mean, he can make the impact straight away. So yeah, like you said, just going for those type of players.
50 points on the line for each of us.
Woo, it's gonna be interesting. We've definitely made some predictions. The good thing is actually that we've gone with different players for this one, so it'll make it a lot more interesting to see who actually gets the most guesses right. But yeah, very excited to see what happens.
Should be very exciting to see. The squad is going to be announced tomorrow, so that means we haven't got long at all to wait. We won't be able to sleep tonight because we'll be thinking, oh, should have gone with another Barrett perhaps in my case. But
they probably put all 3 of them in there and we're completely screwed.
It's hard, isn't it? Trying to get in the mind of the selectors, I feel like.
As well. He's so hard to predict of what he's going to go with. Like, the only thing we know is that he loves Barrett. So, obviously, we're going to try to fit at least some of them in there. But, yeah, we have to cut him a bit of slack in the same time because, obviously, last year with the whole COVID situation. So, it's one of those which it was hard for him to actually select the actual squad he wanted to. So I guess this time around, he's able to actually go with, players that he's, not injured, or some players who are actually fully fit. So yeah, just very excited to see actually who does well within this, the last 2 games, obviously against Fiji. But of course, the Rugby Championship is the big one, and that's where he's really gonna have to stamp his mark, and obviously kind of silence those haters, because obviously there's, obviously rumors of Scott Robertson, and what he could do, and yeah, so yeah, very excited to see what happens, but yeah, should be good.
Right, but nonetheless, that is going to be the end of this prediction video. If you did enjoy, and you do enjoy this new concept, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and we will be sure to bring you plenty more predictions, as bad or as good as they may be. We will keep on trying to one day get that perfect 50. But yeah, thank you very much for coming on the channel, Rugbyitch. Much appreciated. If you haven't already, be sure to check out his channel. The link will be in the description. And yeah, hopefully one of us can get maybe, I don't know, 40 plus would be pretty impressive for a first week.
That'd be good. That'd be good. I think if we get at least 40, yeah, I'd say at least 35 plus. If we can get at least 35 plus, because obviously this is the first time we're doing this, then I think I'll be pretty happy.
Hopefully, one of us can get very close. Imagine if we somehow got 50 in just the first week.
I'd be like, man, we're just too good at this. We're just too good at this. That comes down.
Although, if one of us gets 50, that means the other's probably got about 30.
Exactly. Yeah, so, exactly. So
it's not going to end well.
It's going to be interesting, but looking forward to it.
Yeah, nonetheless, thank you all very much for watching, and we will see you all in the next one.